What a weekend. What a week. We finished the Democrat National Convention. I survived. I don't think there was a single group that I did not make angry. Took a few days off from Riot Alerts, but that didn't mean I took a few days off from CNN or any of my other media hits. Mainly because I really just wanted to get a pulse of what you, the viewers here at Riot Alerts, will talk about. And I have to tell you, you guys are angry. You guys are upset. You guys are actually seeing what is happening right now and calling it for what it is. So a lot of issues we need to discuss, but I really want to ask you right now, as we're seeing, we met the Khan family on Thursday night. And then we had Mr. Trump go into this George Stephanopoulos interview, which, by the way, he should never have done. I really question why he thought that going into an interview with someone who used to be the communication director for Hillary Clinton and one of her for Bill Clinton, and the chief advisors to the Clintons was going to amount in anything good. Nothing was positive out of that interview, and that was to be expected. On Saturday, we started to get these teasers, these edited teasers about things Mr. Trump said. And of course, the Khan question was one of the big ones. And they pieced it together to where Mr. Trump, I'll give the folks their credit. They've researched them. They put two questions together, so it was real quick to sit there and say that Mr. Trump's answer about his sacrifice and what he had to give in order to build a company was equivalent to what the Khans gave up in their son. Something Mr. Trump never said, but they were able to put the two together. Wow. Ever since that steamroll kept going forward. So it has now amounted to this mess that we had yesterday on Monday of how in the world, how do you disseminate? Because it's funny, for once, the Democrats are sitting here claiming to be patriots, to care about our military. Hillary Clinton, and this is the one thing that I haven't pointed out yet, and I'm waiting for the opportunity to point out. Whenever you hear a Democrat, or whenever you hear Hillary Clinton sit there and talk about the Khan situation, she never praises the son. She always criticizes, and here you've got Donald Trump and his surrogates, his supporters, sitting there and criticizing a Gold Star family son. Have you heard them yet actually praise? The majority of them don't even praise and give reverence to the son. They don't actually say, we humbly respect. He did do the ultimate sacrifice. We are grateful for what they gave us, and we hurt for their loss. That only comes from the Republicans. That only comes from the Trump surrogates. But you don't hear that from the Democrats. They're so quick to sit there and say, look. See, Republicans hate the military. Yeah, that's not exactly what's happening right now. And so when we sit here and we look and we look at, when I said sit here again, which is one of my worst habits that I have, but when you look at how this is all being distorted, how the Democrats are trying to sit there, they know that they can't attack Trump from the outside. They have to go from the inside. And of course, we have our chorus of rhinos, the McConnells, the McCains, the Ryans, the Lindsays. Those folks right now are the ones that are sitting there saying, "Oh, Trump was wrong. Trump was wrong." They could not get to a microphone quick enough or to an email quick enough to put out, "Oh, Trump was wrong," to try to destroy us from within. And yesterday you saw Vice President Kane at one of his rallies, and he handled it perfectly. But now the media is trying to spin it that, look, the Trump supporters were booing the military mom. If you listen to the tape correctly, she did not identify herself immediately as a military mom. And when she went into this whole idea of, Mr. Trump, you should, when are you going to open your eyes and see that he hates the military and all the stuff she was saying, that's when she got booed. It wasn't, and once she said, but I'm a mom of a military person, the crowd went quiet. You heard shouts of don't politicize the military, and I as a veteran's wife agree. Don't politicize the military in this event, especially when you're looking at what Hillary Clinton has time and time again said about the Benghazi mother, and where she said, well, I'm not going to sit there and criticize her because, I'm not going to criticize someone who might not remember what I said. You know what? They've now shown the fathers come out with exactly what she said. But, that doesn't matter. That Gold Star mom doesn't matter. Let's focus on this Gold Star dad. So I have to ask you folks, as hopefully we're moving on. And I always said the way that we're going to move on from this campaign or from this issue is that we're going to have to, at least in the undercurrents, start exposing what exactly we were dealing with. Because the Khans were not just some random person who was plucked out of the crowd. 0.02% of Gold Star families are Muslim in faith. So why, if you have all these other options, if Democrats are so supportive of the military, why did they pick this man? Well, now our friends, we've got lots of partnerships, but our friends, we did some of the stories here at RiotAlerts.com, have done their research on Mr. Khan. And my question is, and so they've published amazing articles. In fact, Waleed Shabbat, which if you're not familiar, this is 33 pages right now of this man's ties to Saudi Arabia. Fact. Did he work for the law firm that handles right now the Clinton Global Initiative? Was the former law firm of Loretta Lynch? Fact. Now he opened up his own firm that handles immigration law and charges Muslims money to become American citizens, and how to do it. But can that come out? Should that be talked about? Should it be talked about? And I'm going to say it on here because you and I are friends on Riot Alerts, and I'm not going to lie. I'm sure there's somebody that's going to watch this and go, I can't believe she said that word. The reason why, there is an undeniable fact that most of us that are in the conservative movement that have watched have seen that there is this thing if you want to talk about how women are treated as second-class citizens, let's look over in the Middle East. Let's look at women that have to wear full head coverings and only have their eyes shown. They can't talk to a man. I mean, I went to Iraq, and when I was over there, a bus was going by us, and I was still obviously a woman, and the women were climbing over each other when they realized I was a female, to show me their purple thumbs, that they voted. Our American soldiers were stunned. All male soldiers that I was with were stunned, because here we were, 2004, the same time that Mr. Khan's son was over in Iraq as well. They were stunned at this, and they realized. And the local interpreter said, do you not understand, if these women would have looked at you or shown you any sort of a connection, they would have been stoned to death just for looking at an American male soldier, or any male that was not their husband, their father, their son, any of them. That's repression of women right there. Where's now going and fighting for them? But when they were so proud that they had the right to vote, that they'd been given the right to vote under what the Americans have been able to do for them, that once they saw they were not going to get in trouble for showing a female, they climbed over each other to be able to show me their purple thumbs. And yet, so when Mr. Trump made his comment about why she was silent, this man is a man who is, the father, Mr. Khan, comes from Harvard. He studied in Saudi Arabia. There's some and I don't want to point them out because I've not been able to verify them, but I have a lot of trust in Waleed Shabbat. I would go, and we've put a lot of his articles up on RiotAlerts.com. I would go and I would read what possibly they're saying this man's connections are to Sharia law here in America, to Saudi Arabia, to a lot of these groups. I mean, there are some very big names that you read in here. And why should this come out? Or does this just need to go away? Because we have learned that you don't fight against the military, at least the Democrats. Now, they can go against Republican military, no problem. They're ignoring this letter that I'm holding from, this is another great letter, from Chris Mark and Dr. Heather Mark. He's a captain, where it's an open letter to Khizr Khan. And in it, he states, and I have to say this, it's amazing. He says, the irony of your own son's death at the hands of these very people in Iraq should not be ignored. I have very little doubt that your son would have recognized the need to protect our country from these very people. In fact, he held his own troops back so that he could check on a suspicious car. Colonel Allen West, another military person, he's pointed out. So Mr. Khan, and actually there's a couple of things he's pointed out that I just adore. He said, Mr. Khan, you had a moment to speak on history and provide us clarity and truth from a Muslim man who lost his son, an American soldier, to Islamists. You could have clarified the difference between your son and Sergeant Hassan Kareem Akbar and Major Nadal Hassan. That, sir, to me, was a missed opportunity. I agree with him. Then again, and I think Colonel Allen West called it right. Maybe you had no intention of using the platform provided to you as a teachable moment, but rather a politically influenced opportunity for gain. You, Mr. Khan, had the chance to be the face and voice of a Muslim family that stood with the fundamental principles and values of liberty, freedom, and democracy, upon which this republic was founded, in which you have founded a home. He missed an opportunity if he really cared about showing the patrons. But no, he was up there for political motivation. I firmly believe that. So Mr. Trump is going to hopefully move on, because as we've learned, there is nothing that he's going to say. And the problem is, will the American public, will the American media, will any media, allow him to move on from this? Because he didn't mention it yesterday at his rally. He didn't mention it at anything. He waits until, once again, the journalists that are interviewing him, the crowd, the journalists are the ones that are asking the questions. They're keeping this fire going. I have yet to find where Mr. Trump insulted the son of Mr. Khan, where he didn't call him anything but a hero. He didn't insult his memory. He didn't insult the good work, because he was an amazing soldier. He was probably one of the best soldiers our country, he was an ideal soldier. What he did, though, was defend himself. And we live in an age right now, we live in a media world of, as someone pointed to me, as villains and heroes. And depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you're either, you can't have a hero without a villain. And both sides is going to sit here and try to paint each other. Where I land a lot of times, I'm in that villain position and just need to go into these interviews, like many of you with your debates, not expecting to win. But if I can get one or 2 points pointed out, just like Wally Shabbat did with his article, then maybe 1 or 2 points will eventually lead up, and other people will start thinking down those same lines of reality. Scotty Hughes, RightAlerts.com. I'm going to go through, I'm going to read all of your comments. And as obviously as I'm sitting here reading, people are bringing up Huma Abedin. We're talking about lying Hillary. Khan does anything to get an appointment. I mean, let's talk about, you guys are very, very well informed, and I love that. And we have to, because if you sit there and you talk about bias within the media, then guess what? Places like social media, we can still get the word out. We can still motivate folks, and this might be our only place to be able to do it. So, thank you very much for watching. RightAlerts.com. We have a new poll up right now. Where did I find my last one? See here. We have a new poll up. I will talk at some point. Oh, one more quick point. I can't believe I forgot this. Let's not forget, this is not the first time that the Democrats have paraded victims around in order to advance their political agenda. You remember back in the 4 widows of 9/11, that they paraded around to try to beat George W. Bush during his second term to beat him. Remember, they paraded him everywhere. Remember that? So don't take it by. These Democrats, they're not against parading victims around and giving that umbrella cover to advance their agenda, knowing that it's pretty hard to criticize them. So do we let them or not? Thank you, guys. RightAlerts.com. Talk to you later.